This is the anime recap for Trapped in a Dating Sim, since Carla had officially requested his assistance. Leon is then unable to refuse. Meanwhile, Olivia and Angelica's friendships start to deteriorate when bullies start referring to Olivia as Angelica's pet. As the student festival continues on, it's revealed that the festival includes a flying bike race. There, a third-year student named Dan Elder is the favorite to win it all. Leon then decides to use Luxion's prediction programming to start making a fortune, gambling on the winners of the races. On the other hand, Clarice Joke's ex-fiancé has him injured for dumping her, preventing him from racing. Maureen is then able to manipulate Leon into becoming Joke's substitute by pointing out Angelica will be shamed if he refuses. Dan also reveals Claire's had her heart broken by Joke. So despite agreeing they both hate Joke, Dan swears to beat Leon as his Joke's substitute. During the race, Leon is targeted by all the other racers that got bankrupted by his previous wagers. While watching the race, Stephanie upsets Olivia by revealing Angelica once treated commoners as badly as she does, causing Angelica to retaliate. Despite all odds, Leon wins the race, but his bike explodes. Fortunately, Dan saves him from falling to the ground, since they both dislike Joke. Afterwards, Leon forces Joke to give Claire's the apology she deserves. This ends up surprising her that somehow Leon actually has a kind heart behind his evil personality. Leon also convinces Olivia to give Angelica another chance, despite how difficult a friendship between a commoner and noble might be in the future. In the end, Carla asks Olivia for a private conversation. Carla ends up revealing that she's taking orders from Stephanie, which scares Olivia into obeying her orders from the game. Leon knows Carla's land is being invaded by sky pirates, who are actually working for Stephanie and Carla as a plot to send Olivia into a battle she can't win. The defeat of the pirates is a major plot point for Olivia, but Leon decides to defeat the pirates himself to protect her and the others. Luxion then worries that Leon is robbing Olivia of opportunities to grow stronger and to become more confident in herself. Later, Carla, who now controls Olivia, brings Brad and Greg on the mission as well. Angelica then learns what Stephanie has done to Olivia and rushes to find her. Brad then reveals that Stephanie is actually his ex-fiancé, and ending their engagement was a very risky move for him and the kingdom. It turns out that her family is essential to protect the kingdom from the neighboring fantasy duchy, particularly from their strongest warrior, dubbed the Black Knight. But Leon defeats all the pirates easily since he's a good chap while piloting arrogance. Greg then realizes the actual war is very different from duels and gains massive respect for Leon. When confronted, Carlin attempts to blame Olivia, but Leon instead exposes her crimes to her father, forcing her to confess Stephanie planned everything to ruin Olivia. With Stephanie's lies in her head, Olivia becomes depressed, believing Angelica really does see her only as a pet, and Leon must only want her attractively. As such, Leon realizes just how much hurt he has caused Olivia by overprotecting her and not letting her learn by doing things for herself. Leon also realizes that when the Sims tried to impress Marie, they also let her do things on her own, like failing, unlike him and Olivia. Marie then starts writing dungeons, determined to retrieve a certain relic before Olivia, but the rest of the pirates attack the ship. Olivia tries to help, but is attacked by the pirate captain. Brian and Greg intervene, but Brad's sword skills are still lacking compared to someone like the pirate captain. While watching, Leon realizes this is how the story should go, with the Sims helping Olivia without him having to help. He has to step in anyways and easily defeat the captain, looting from him the holy necklace, one of the relics Olivia needs to eventually become a saint. Meanwhile, Olivia is devastated when Leon starts to distance himself from her, hoping she will eventually become friends with the Sims like she was originally supposed to, and wants her to forget about him. This causes Angelica to become furious at Leon for hurting Olivia so badly. On the other hand, Luxion finds evidence linking the pirates to Stephanie, who was then arrested by the royal family. Liam then gives full credit for the pirates' defeat to Brad and Greg, and he intervenes to have their families reinstate them as family heirs. They are very grateful, but choose to annoy Leon by having the Queen promote him once again to the lower 5th rank nobility, a rank even higher than Leon's own father. He is also further annoyed when Claire's father, grateful he forced Joke to apologize, arranges for him to be promoted again to the upper 5th rank after he graduates from the account. To me, another game event occurs during the school trip. There Leon ends up visiting a shrine, where he coincidentally meets Angelica and Olivia, after he decided to distance himself from them. Leon then receives shrine charms which he shares with them. Angelica, a red elemental blessing, Olivia, a white one, and Lion of Fortune, and more. Suddenly, the Academy ship is attacked by Princess for Truth of the Phanis Daisai, who declares war, an event not supposed to happen until the end of the game. Angelica volunteers as hostage, and when Leon and Olivia tried to protect her, her troops' commander Garrett forces other students to beat them. Holfort Kingdom orders Chris to delay her troops as long as possible, even if they all die. Most students cowardly refuse to fight. So as a high-ranked noble, Lion calls on every student to fight while shaming them by calling them false nobles. Derrida Roseblade, the highest-ranked noble below Angelica, is insulted and proclaims her family achievements. But even she is shamed when Leon points out those achievements belong to her ancestors, while she acted as a coward like everyone else. Through shame, anger, and wounded pride, every student finally agrees to fight, impressed by his rudeness and brazen lack of respect. Derrida falls in love with Leon. Leon then promises Olivia he will save Angelica. Then her truth reveals she controls her monsters with her flute as they attack Leon. As soon as he leaves the ship, Garrett then orders for them to fire on the Academy ship. With Leon busy and everyone else occupied, Olivia, enhanced by the white elemental blessing charm, activates her dormant saint powers and conjures a shield around the ship, saving everyone. Leon is then glad he didn't hold Olivia back enough to stifle her power. With Olivia protecting the ship, Leon infiltrates her trade ship, freeing Angelica, and captures her truth, while getting revenge on Garrett by removing his famous mustache. Furious, Garrett resumes firing, and her true releases for control of the monsters so they will attack her in revenge, while simultaneously bringing down the Academy ship. Enhanced by the red elemental blessing charm, Angelica uses fire magic to protect the ship when Olivia collapses from magical strain. They reconcile as Angelica shares a crying Olivia that she is stronger than she thinks, and she has never once held them back. While saving Angelica, Olivia falls off the ship, forcing Leon to catch her. Finally, Olivia scolds Leon for being distant, and despite his claims that he is a terrible person, confesses she loves him. Leon is also able to pilot arrogance and swears he will defeat the fan of statues so soundly that they will never dare invade again. Out of options, Garrett decides to deploy his secret weapon, Sir Vandal, the infamous Black Knight, as the two clash. Leon struggles against Vandal, who has decades more of battle experience. However, Leon is Giga Brain and traps Vandal's armor in a bear hub van, holds Vandal at gunpoint. Desperate to preserve his reputation, Garrett summons every monster for miles to destroy himself, his army, and every witness that has seen the battle. Unfortunately for Mustache Man, Leon reveals Luxion's main ship has been hiding above the clouds, which obliterates the monsters. Garrett and Vandal are then forced to retire in disgrace, while Leon claims Vandal's legendary sword. In the end, Leon forces Chris to take credit for the victory, so that he is reinstated as his family's heir. Days later, the Sibs build a new armor piloted by Greg to re-challenge Leon. So he stops meddling in their relationships with Murray, fed up of dueling, or Giga Chad plans to lose until election analyses the armor, which happens to be so faulty that it will end up exploding, which will kill Greg. Leon is forced to destroy the armor to save Greg, winning his duel yet again. Leon is furious to learn capturing Hatred has earned him the Distinguished Service Medal and promotion to Viscount. Marie then reveals she now possesses the Saint's bracelet and plots to find the other Tucson items to finally replace Olivia as the actual heroine. Meanwhile, Olivia assures Leon she is happy to wait for his response to her love confession, no matter how long it takes. Luxion then ends up commenting on how Leon and Marie are very similar. They both use knowledge of the game to get what they wanted, though he decides this is a trivial matter.